Hey, I don't know why they call it a black edition, because it looks to me like the color is in fact white. But this is your 2026 Genesis G90 Black Edition. Wait. Let's make sure you know all the information here. Hang on. It is the, excuse me, 2026 G90 3.5T E-SC MHEV Prestige Black all-wheel drive. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. But this is a lot of stuff. This is $108,000 worth of stuff in a car. And boy, is it an interesting machine. I'm telling you right now, when I see a price tag like that and I go, you gotta be kidding me, man. I mean, houses in some part of the country can be purchased for that kind of money. But the fact of the matter is, it's a very, very elegant, cool, upscale, luxury sport machine that has a lot of really interesting bells and whistles. But the best part about it is it has refinement out the wazoo. And if you want to find out what a wazoo is and how you can refine it, stay with us. Let us talk of particulars. We have a four-door sedan with a genuine trunk. We have a massive, where is it? I can't find it. I know what it is. It's a 125-inch wheelbase. Why don't I have it on my sheet here? I'm looking at my sheet. You want to see my sheet? No, you don't want to see my sheet. Wow. Well, I'm 99% sure I'll put it at the bottom of the screen if it's whatever it is, but it's 125 inches. And it is a big, long, full-size sedan with a limo-like rear seat. Now, one of the neatest things about this car is the word four, because everything's four. It's an all-wheel drive, meaning four wheels drive the car, and it has four-wheel steering, so that the rear wheels pivot to help you do amazing things with this car, considering how long it is. It definitely helps you in tight cornering and tight parking, but it also moves with a great degree of elegant stability when you're changing lanes on the highway. But as I mentioned before, this thing is loaded with just about everything you can imagine to make it a premier automotive experience. We have a twin turbo V6 engine with an electric supercharger, and I'll share with those numbers for you. Well, okay, it's 409 horsepower. I'll just say that right now. And it is a magnificent machine when it comes to elegance. Look at how beautiful this thing is. And there's no mistaking the fact that this is a big car, but it competes with a lot of what your Mercedes-Benz, what is it, the S-Class, your BMW 7 Series, you know, those kind of things, and the Lexus LS, I guess. That's pretty much what I would think it is. And it has its own personality. That's one of the neat things about it. The parent company is, in fact, Hyundai, but this is a very, very upscale car inside and out. It has a tremendous solid feel to it. And in addition to all the beautiful lines, and it is extremely well sculpted for an aerodynamic standpoint, it has all the cool stuff. I mean, look at the front here. We got some really elegant, almost minimalist looking headlights, but they work quite well, let me tell you. So without further ado, I want to show you this engine, because this is a beautiful machine in terms of smoothness, acceleration, refinement, all that good stuff. And that is only the beginning. I'll tell you, one of the interesting things about this white paint job on our black edition Prestige Black G90 is how well it illuminates the engine compartment. As you can see, look at all this. The everything is so well covered, buttoned up. Looks like an expensive car is what it looks like. But we have these cross braces here to help stiffen up the front of the chassis, and then we have underneath this this cover right here a twin turbo 3.5 liter V6 with both direct fuel injection and multi-point fuel injection. So that's good because you get the best of both worlds, and it also helps do great things for your fuel economy and everything else. I see I'm running out of battery, so I better hurry. Here we have air cleaners on both sides that feed in here, and your V's, there's 3 cylinders, 1, 2, 3 here, and 1, 2, 3 here. Turbocharger, electric supercharger is down in there. So all these things combine to put out 409 horsepower at 5,800 RPM and 405 pounds of feet in your torque department, ranging from 1,300 RPM to 4,500 RPM for its peak, which is actually pretty interesting stuff. And it is a smooth runner. It's also powered to all 4 wheels with its all-wheel drive system, and it has an 8-speed automatic transmission that is smooth as silk. Very, very impressive, this automatic transmission. And look, it uses 0 W30 oil. That's a new one. I don't know if I've seen that one before, but that's cool. But there you are. Here is the defined definition for your car right there. Whoops. Trying to get this. There we go. Electric supercharger. So you got intercools up front to cool your turbocharger, and then everything else is pretty much buttoned up, but you can get to it very easy. It looks like you can open most of this with a just a regular screwdriver blade, but you do have access to your windshield washer fluid. This is all the stuff your chauffeur is going to do anyway. And over here is your brake center. So there you go. I'm like I said, I'm in a hurry. It's freezing, and I got no battery power. But I want you to also look at the size of this hood. I mean, it's massive. And from what I can tell, it is, in fact, aluminum. So it may be massive, but it's still fairly light. So that is one of the nicest powertrain. Yeah, I'll be talking more about it as we drive, because that's where this thing shines so magnificently, is the level of refinement, power, everything you want to make it as fine a luxury vehicle as you'll find at any price, but especially at a higher price. Oh my gosh, we got wheels aplenty here. Good God, these are massive wheels. Not just big, massive. What size are these tires? Here, let's have a look. You and I together. I can't see from here. I can't see at all. You know, the wind is blowing and howling and stuff. Hang on a second. Well, first of all, I take note, even though you can barely see them, there are enormous calipers and rotors underneath there. I think 14 inches the diameter of your rotors. Here we go. 275 35 R21 in the back. And in the front, what have we got? I think we have, oh, incidentally, while I'm here, these are beautiful Michelins. This particular Michelin is a, God, why is it always upside down for me? I've entered the upside down. Oh man, I didn't want to go there. Primacy Tour AS. So we have no spare tire, which I'll show you in just a minute. But my God, these are such huge wheels, 21-inch wheels. And they are a beautiful, this is part of the black treatment. This is the black part of the white car that's called Black Edition or whatever. But I see no downside to these tires in terms of you got your very huge wheels and your very little amount of meat on them as far as your, you see what I'm saying here? This thickness from here to here. is fairly narrow, but the ride quality of this car is outstanding. I think a lot of that has to do with the tuning of the air suspension. We'll get more into that later. How about our trunk? Look at there, power, of course. And it is 10.59 cubic feet of space. You can see the occasional wisps of the exhaust because I do in fact have the engine motor running, head out on the highway situation going here. If we look underneath here, you will not, well, first of all, this right here is our owner's manual. I'll just shove it, I'll just grab this and God, my hands are so cold. There we go. I tossed it daintily aside. Now, what do we have here? Where is this, our spare? Well, here is our flat repair kit type stuff. That's all here. What's underneath here? A lithium ion battery. So this is part of our electric supercharging system. And there's our lithium ion battery pack right there. And that takes up the space that you might have a spare tire, but you don't. But you can get a version of the G90 that does not have the electronic supercharger if you so desire. So plenty of room, beautifully, elegantly finished. It's exactly what you would expect at a vehicle in this class and or price range. So how about that? Look at those beautiful little exhausts. You got them beautiful little exhaust ports down there that I find incredibly well incorporated into the rear bumper. And see, this is part of your black effect here. Your Genesis lettering, your G90, that's all part of the black package, if you will. But there we are. That has a very swoopy, and you can tell, as if you haven't already noticed, how big that rear door is. And these doors are power doors, and I'll get into them at length because I'm not real thrilled about those. I never have been, actually, electronic door locks and stuff. Not the locks itself, but the latches, or also used to be known as the door handle, or the clasper if you're like from a real strange ranch in eastern Kentucky or something. But it does have one thing that no other car in its class has. It has that wonderful Genesis styling, which I find absolutely beautiful, and aerodynamic, which helps with fuel economy, but it also keeps the car whisper quiet. Even though I got the engine running right now because I'm freezing to death, and the second I turn this thing off, I'm going to leap into it because there's so much room and so much comfort, and everything's heated. So there you go. Well, let's have a look and see if I can do this. There's locking the car, unlocking the car, it's going to take me forever to master this. This has power assist, you see. Now, when I sit down here, hello, when I sit down, press that button right there. Look at there. Oh, wow. Amazing. And then we have the cool graphics going on. And then, let's start. All right, it's cold. I'm turning on the seat heater right here. Put her on 2. And now we have the G90 interior experience. Let me back this up a little bit for you. There you go. Now then, there is our digital dashboard. This is all, of course, it may appear to be analog to you, but in fact it is your basic flat screen, which is becoming the norm just about with almost all. Well, let me see. I'm trying to think. I think Mazda, the last Mazda I had, which I believe was your CX-50 hybrid, I believe. It had some actual analog instruments in it, but everybody else is going full digital, just like these guys. Bring this back a little bit. There we are. And as is usual, we have so many choices with this particular vehicle. If I go to media, I'm going to try to go to Experience the Universe. We like that. Experience the Universe. Where's the Mood Curator? I'm going to go to the regular menu here. You can touch screen it, or you can use this guy right here. Apparently the touch screen is the way to go because, all right, hang on. See, there is confusion, but I ascribe that to the driver, not to the car. HD radio data, climate, quiet mode, Mood Curator, there we are. Let's curate our mood, shall we? Vitality, there we are. And now what it's doing is it's setting up, it just lowered the rear shades, and look at the graphic. That's the same graphic we had a couple of years ago on a G90 that we had, and lots of fun for curating your mood. You got you got your Comet going through there, and it's just pretty amazing all together. I must say. But anyway, in our main instrument cluster, we have our total mileage on this 2026 is 2,374 miles, just broken in, as they say. And overall, you don't have a whole lot of choices. There are slight variations to your cluster depending on depending on your drive mode, which I have right here. I can change our drive modes right there. Comfort, Sport, red of course for Sport. And when I do Sport, incidentally, I'm gonna do that again because you can't see it, but I can tell you about it. Something's happening to me personally. When I go to Sport, there we go. Yeah, these side bolsters here, which are, hang on, these beauties right here in this beautiful leather upholstery, they actually get tighter when you put it in the Sport mode, which is nice to ensure that you'll stay in the seat as you fling this big beast around, which is interesting stuff. But I'm going to go back to Comfort because that's where I was. There we are. And the main instrument cluster is kind of a standard output. You have your speedometer on the left and your tachometer on the right. Activate tachometer. Wee, wee. And of course we have two turbochargers, one for each cylinder bank. And we have the electric supercharger. So you got all these things to get us up to 409 horsepower. Idling this thing is really smooth. It does, of course, have an automatic engine shut-off that you can deactivate if you wish very easily. As a matter of fact, that's the switch to do it right there. So as you're driving along and you come to a stop, it will shut down the engine. But this is a very, very smooth idling engine. Oh, and incidentally, I should do one thing here. If I turn off the radio sound system, this is our Bang & Olufsen tweeter. Now watch what happens. I'm gonna turn her back on now. Rises right out of the dashboard there. I mean, this car is endlessly amusing. It's a very expensive car. But you can see where all the money went, because the money went pretty much everywhere. It's all over the car. There's all kinds of interesting things. Now here's something I didn't even know existed, but you can raise, since this does have an air suspension, you can raise the ride height just like that. And it'll give you some more ground clearance, which can come in real handy on rural driveway situations, unpaved, unimproved road situations. It's not an off-road vehicle, even though it does have all-wheel drive, but it does have a handy amount of ground clearance when you need it in order to get over the snow. Say there's snow out there. There's very little, but there you go. So anyway, we looked at that. Now we can look at this. We have the power distribution, which will tell you which wheels are getting the power. If you're interested in that, it will fulfill you. And there we have the navigational map, which can also be, it's going to be displayed here when you don't have the Vitality going. But it also displays directly here on directly in front of the driver, which I really like. There is a heads-up display, which is deactivated at the moment because I don't like heads-up displays. This is a graphic that'll tell you what's going on with your automated driving systems, i.e. your adaptive cruise control, which also includes, if I push this button right here, dink, self-steering, in that it will guide you through the middle of the lane that you're in. And it can also do all kinds of other magical things, like it can change lanes and that sort of thing. Did I show you all that on this one? I don't know if I did or not. Huh. That's something that I should do if I haven't done it yet. That's enough of our mood. My mood feels really curated. So if I go back to medium, I'm going to go back to my favorite Lively Forest in the Sounds of Nature package. All this just comes in the car. And not only that, when I mentioned the Mood Curator, the Mood Curator also adjusts it. It's primarily aimed at the people in the back seat. This is like a limousine. And what it does is it's not just a music thing, it also enhances the curation of the mood through lighting. That's the actual onboard LED lighting, as well as what's coming in outside, and it will lower or raise the window shades depending on what particular setting you have. The Mood Curator's a hoot. I think it's a lot of fun. Not a necessary item, but neither are these. Look what happens when I open the door. I push that button there. Beep. It does that on its own now. I don't want to go outside. It's too cold. There we go, and it shuts itself. I have a prediction about this. They're going to get rid of that at some point, or do something different with it, because I don't think it. I'd love to talk to you if you send a comment if you own one of these G90s, and your thoughts on the power door opening and closing, because I think most people are going to find it less than helpful. That's just my experience, because you can't just open and shut the door quite the same way without running into some resistance from the motors that actually could shut the door for you. So, again, my opinion, I'd love to hear yours. I really would. I don't ask for opinions ever, but and if for some reason you have an electrical outage, right down in here is a manual. You pull up on it twice, and it will manually open the door. You can go a straight mechanical route if you have an electrical failure. That is present on every door in the car. So, very important safety feature, by the way. As you may or may not know, based on some things that have happened with people that have electric door handles. That includes Tesla, Lincoln, Lexus. Lexus has a real interesting approach to that. It has an electronic door. It's not power assisted, but it's an electronic door. But if it fails, you just pull the latch further, and it will then engage mechanically. So that's the ultimate safety feature. But it also begs the question is, why do you have that electronics in there anyway? So anyhow, where were we? Oh yes, we were right here on our steering wheel. And on our steering wheel, we have, here's our cruise control array right here. This is our following distance with our adaptive cruise control. This is how and this is beautifully set up. It's really easy to turn on and off the lane centering, lane steering, lane tracing function. It's right there. This is what I was moving to do this stuff here. And not a whole lot of settings there, but a few. And you can adjust the instrument cluster to stay at a certain type of setting and not be linked to the drive mode if you want. Very simple. It's all part of the main menu, which I'll glance through in a minute. But anyway, very conventional light controls right here. We're on automatic right now. I don't see anything that would be called fog lights. Huh. But it does have the automatic dimming function should you select it. And I told you that about the engine auto stop start thing. Your emergency brake is down here too, by the way. And this is turning off your traction control situation. So we moved to the center screen. The center screen is, as most people do it, is a landscape format. and the graphics are absolutely great. Your map is very beautiful. I tend to use someone, it may have been me in another life, I may have turned this into the dark mode. It works a lot better in all cars that I've driven, really. The bright mode that they have for daytime use is usually a little too bright. I find it clearer and easier to see things when you have it in the dark mode. But again, this is something you can select and customize. This is all about the customization for you. Way up here, we have a trunk release right there. And way over here, we have the lighting rheostat. Now, how do you reset your, let's go to settings, setup. And let's see if we can figure out vehicle. That's us. A heads-up display. Want me to turn that on? I'll turn that on for you. Enabled. There. Can you see? Can you see that? I don't even know if you can see that. But there is your, you can adjust it in terms of display height, rotation, illumination. All these things are quite adjustable. And then you have content selection, turn-by-turn navigation, driving convenience information, blind spot safety. All this stuff can be displayed in your heads-up display. Or you can be like me and disenable it, because I'm just that kind of person. And here, again, which I mentioned with the cluster, you have your theme selections, link to drive mode, or you can take that out and pick one. And I say theme C, and there we go. And it'll stay that no matter what the drive mode happens to be. Very, very good. So, reset fuel economy after refueling. I've done that. Content selection. Icy road warning. You'll figure that out on your own, I think. Cluster, voice volume, all this stuff is at your beck and call. Now, where in the world is... There's seat, the seat alert switch. The seats are amazing. It will tell you if it's being, you adjust it 10 ways from Sunday on this car, including your thigh support down here, which is really good for people to really customize the comfort level, especially if you're on a long trip. And you have massage. The ergo motion, it's an ergo motion situation here. The ergo motion, and smart posture adjusting, which activates cushion seat back support, changes at the set interval to lessen discomfort while driving, or they could say increase comfort. You know, that's another way of referring to that. That's okay. But you have massage. You can have a massage while you're driving. Nothing wrong with that. We have a number of settings for the doors, the digital key. Convenience includes oil change reminder. Like I say, I can't find where the, let's go back and let's go, all right, we'll do this. General date, time, language. How do you reset your trip odometer on this? I looked up, there is no mention of trip odometer or odometer in the owner's manual. None. I don't know what to say about that other than I don't get it. There must be one, but I just don't know. That's one of these where I need the salesperson to tell me what in the world is going on with all this, because there's no straight. Well, we go over here, we got driving convenience, driving safety, speed limit. Driver attention warning is interesting because this thing tells me on average about every 3 to 5 minutes, that I should take a break, because there is a camera somewhere in here that is watching me, and it doesn't like the way I move my head or something, thinks I'm about to fall asleep, which is ridiculous. I'm not about to fall asleep, but what are you going to do, man? We have parking safety. We have naturally all the usual parking sensors located around the car so that to keep this thing out of trouble. And you don't park this thing, you moor it. And one of the things that helps that is the four-wheel steering, because I was just in a very crowded parking lot yesterday, and I was wondering, can I fit into that parking place? Can I get in there? And Sure enough, I could really feel the rear wheel steering kicking in because I had the wheel turned all the way to one side, and it really helps. I mean, it's with a 125-inch wheelbase, you kind of need something like that to make it a little easier to deal with when you are in a tight parking situation. So that's a very good feature on this car. Genesis loves that. I believe that was also present. There's so much in comparison with the G90, which is a little bit smaller than this, but has an awful lot of the same features to it, that and is considerably, like tens of thousands of dollars less expensive than this is. It even has the same engines except without the supercharger, and it also, I believe, has a 4-cylinder option that is turbocharged. But the twin turbo V6 is also available on the G90. So that's a real interesting thing. If you're in the market for one of these cars, you need to take a real good look at both of them, because one of them may suit you better. If you really need the back seat room, this is obviously the limousine of your choice. If I had a car service in New York City and I drove people around, this would be such a good choice. It's like a BMW 7 Series in terms of rear seat room. I think it's the 7 Series EL or something like that, extra long wheelbase. But this thing has a lot of room in it, and it's absolutely dynamite that we have all this room at our beck and call. Here's our cup holder. Oh, wait a minute. I jumped right over all this. Here's our main menu right here, so I could go back to map just like that. It's also worth noting that it is both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatible, so I usually use some of my apps from my smartphone in the main system here, and it works quite well, very seamless. But you're gonna love this. But here in our climate control area, we also have, this took me a while to find it. The heated steering wheel is all the way over here. Usually there's somewhere in the proximity of this right in here, but it's right there. But what the heck is this? That is aromatherapy, for lack of a better term. Excuse me. They think of everything, and I found this strange object in the back of the trunk, and it turns out that is a recharging canister for the aromatherapy. And I think that's also part of the mood curation. You don't know what's going on. It's not like it's a strong perfume or anything. See, I can turn it on right now. I can turn it on full blast. And there we go. And I think if you hit this, it says 1. I don't know, that must be a particular type of aromatherapy thing, but can you believe that? Isn't that something else? It'll even adjust your air for you. Buy cup holders. Now we get into an area of minor controversy. Now, if you followed me on my channel with all these excellent Genesis vehicles, I've always had a real complaint about the fact that the shifting knob, this here, is very similar to this here, which is our center screen navigation, you see. I'm navigating my center screen right now. I'm trying to. Well, here, can I go back there? Yeah. There we go, and there we go. Okay, but anyway, the diameter is really similar between these two. Now, normally what Genesis has done is put one here and one here, and I have mistaken one for the other a few times. Now, I got an email from somebody, or a message, I should say, in one of my Genesis reviews, and said, well, they've owned like 3 Genesis in the last 5 years, which, what? But they were saying, oh, I've never run into anything in the garage or anything like that by hitting this instead of the navigation system for the center screen. I've never had this problem. But I think they are way too similar, and I do grab the wrong one sometime. Now, if you own the car for a while, a long time, let's say, you're going to get used to that, and you'll probably not make that mistake anymore. But at the same time, why are these so similar? I don't know. The shift, you put your foot on the brake, and there's drive, and there's neutral, and there's reverse, with our incredible array of backup cameras, 360 degrees worth for your entertainment. And park is right there. So, interesting thing. Once you get used to it, I think you're used to it. And it is closest to the driver, the shifter, as opposed to this, which is a little further away. But I wonder, you know, I think it could confuse people. And we also here have, this is where our stereo resides, believe it or not. Menus, on-off volume, tuning, all that kind of thing. It's largely touchscreen based, just like everything else on the car. So it takes a little while for you to set up your preferences, if you will, your favorite channels and that kind of thing. And then if you don't want to listen to any of that gobbledygook, you can go to Sounds of Nature and enjoy the sounds of nature. Now, further aft, here's our cameras. And look at all the cameras we have to pick from. Here we got this. We got that right there, which is reversing. And if we go this way, do we have choices? Yeah, here we go. Here's the dog. The dog's right there. He's unusually long in this photograph. Not a photograph, sorry. But then we go back here, and then we can go there, and we can go there, and we can do the 360. Check this out. Whee, looky there. You can check the entire area here, see what's happening. So I love it when they have this much flexibility, excuse me, in the camera system. Brilliant, actually. Then we have, this is our seat ventilation. This is our seat heating for both the passenger and the driver. And then here, here's another button. If I want to open that door, let's see if it works. I'm pushing the button down, and it's not doing anything. Now, why is that? I don't know. How about the rear? That's not doing anything either. Could be because the car is, who knows? I may just have this disconnected somewhere. But yeah, this is oh, I see. It's designed to close the door. So let's open the door. There we go. The door is open a little bit. And now we'll close it using this. Ha! You see? That's what that is. Shall we do the other side? We'll do the other side here. Open door. Door is open, then you have to push it the rest of the way. And that's where I get the resistance from the electric motors. But we hit the button, and what happens? Nothing. Oh, that's the rear. I'm sorry. There we are. Look at there. So it's all about opening and closing the doors at the last 8 inches, pretty much. Crazy, man. I'm telling you, that's wild. It's wild and crazy. We'll move further aft. Here's incidentally where we put our smartphones for our wireless charging, a QI, if you will. And then we have this beautiful engine bay, Tarrytown Jewelers. Oh, there used to be a watch in there. It's being serviced. And we have a couple of USB-Cs. Matter of fact, we have nothing but USB-Cs because I actually needed a USB-A port for something I was doing, and there was none. So you got to have a USB-C adapter to a USB-A if you want to use a USB-A device. That's just the way it is. And I'd love to tell you right off the bat what kind of gas mileage I've been getting. It's saying 19.9 over the last, well, I'd tell you if I had a trip meter or knew how to access it. I mean, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's real obvious. But I've poked and prodded and done all kinds of things to find out where that is. I've checked the car itself, because there, if I remember right, there is... yeah, I don't see anything here. Genesis Pay. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there's the manual, online manual, vehicle quick guide, and we'll go down here. Vehicle, driver's seat, rear armor, all these different things. How about trip odometer? Let's go all the way down in the T section, and nope, there is nothing there. So anyway, somewhere in this car is a trip odometer, and I just don't know how many miles I've been driving. I know I got 178 miles left, but how many do I actually have? Incidentally, you'll see this later if you have really good eyesight, but when the cruise control is on, the conditions are not met for, well, I know that, I'm just sitting here. But anyway, right up here is where you get your display, and it's very small, but it will tell you the speed you have it set at. It will also tell you the following distance you have it set at and whether or not the self-steering is activated. So, all right, well, that's mainly here. These seats, like I said, are fabulous. And what are they? Are they made of leather? I believe they are. Let's see, comfort and convenience. Oh, this incidentally, we have our 2 sunroofs here, one for each, the front bank of passengers, people and drivers, and then the rear bank. Wait till we get back seat. The back seat is the highlight of this vehicle. We do have, let's see, premium upper, oh, I didn't know that. It has a premium upper instrument panel. I have no idea what that actually means. But in the comfort and convenience area, that is where the Mood Curator comes in. That's what department it belongs to, because I'm sure there's a management structure. Let's see here. I'm trying to find out. I'm not going to find it, am I? Oh, probably. I never do when I'm sitting here looking at this stuff and boring you to death. Sorry about that. Well, pretty sure that's leather. I'll put it on the bottom of the screen. But incredibly quilted, beautiful, wonderful, perforated for the ventilation, and wonderfully heated, so it's as nice as it gets. All right, let's check out that back seat. You've been very patient. And let's see if he's been more patient than all of us put together. Here we go. Yeah, I know. Well, shall we avail ourselves? Oh, wait a minute. No, push the button. Oh, and I need to lower down the, what the heck is that? It's alive. Ugh. Look at this amazing system we have here. What happened? Oh, there we go. I muted the radio. I have no idea how. But anyway, as you would expect, there's enormous legroom here. There is like I mentioned, you got your own sunroof, and look at these vanity mirrors are deluxe. Look, there you are. Really nice. You also have speakers up in here as part of your Bang & Olufsen situation. You have the ability, as you can see right here, to recline, lift. There we go. I just turned on that screen. You can recline quite a bit, up and back, all power actuated. And the headrest is also electrically assisted. Swipe the screen. Now look at this. This is the intricate explanation of everything you can do, pretty much. This is nice because now we can put our shade up if we want. Let's close this one. Ooh. Nice, huh? Now we'll open it. Where we go? There we go. Whee! And then the rear is right here, open and close. And now it's closing. Look at there. See? And this is all part of the Mood Curator as well. It would do that for you to set the proper type of situation. But anyway, when you have 2 people back here, they are in extreme comfort. Here we have, I'm thinking I know what this is. Yeah, there is a USB-C, which doesn't make any sense to me. There's got to be more of them back here, right? It's got to be 2 passengers, 2 USBs. I'm sure you even have a smart charger for your phone right there. Pretty sure. Let's see if that works. Let's check that out. I'll put it there. Are we charging? Yes, right there. We're charging. Nice. So you have a charger for a phone. I think everything ought to be in duplicate personally, because you're going to have at least 2 people back here in your limousine situation. Just one? Is there really just one USB-C? Well, let's look in here. Ah! USB, USB, there's two of them right there. And then there's UVC, which is ultraviolet computer. I don't have no idea what that is. But you have all this beautiful inlaid wood in here, and these beautiful little lights in the side, which change depending on what Mood Curator you have activated. I think you can actually manually adjust them. So you can probably do that here. Can you do that here? Put it on home. Seat, climate, massage. Oh, well, while I'm here, let's go. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Well, you know, see, this way you spend $106,000 or whatever it is on this car. Oh, this is so comfortable back here. You spend $106,000 on this car, and should you lose your house in these economic times, and you can just go live in the car, because it's got that much room, and it's got comfort aplenty, and you can watch television on your device. You can groom yourself with this. You can enjoy the outdoors with sounds of nature and your sunroof. So you've got everything you need in this beautiful G9 to not only go down the highway in great comfort, but to survive if necessary. This is a nice car, and one of the things that I love about it is I consider it complete. There's not a single area that is not impressive in terms of your drivetrain is impressive, all-wheel drive, 409 horsepower, very, very smooth execution of everything. Can't even feel the transmission shifting most of the time. It's very, very smooth. So the attention to detail of this car is everywhere. There's a few little choices I would make, like I would get rid of the power operated. I'm still being massaged. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna turn that off. How do I turn that off? You can't turn it off ever. There we go. I don't know how to turn it off. It doesn't care. I'm staying here. I'm moving in. So anyway, here is your 2026 Genesis G90. Ultimate wonderful machine / limousine / place to live. I'm starting to see, especially in tight turning situations, I'm starting to detect the presence of the four-wheel steering working, and it's nice. It does make a 125-inch wheelbase much more manageable, actually, and you still got all the benefits of having a really long wheelbase. Especially when it comes to rear passenger room. How you doing back there in the luxurious accommodations? Are you enjoying yourself? Are you enjoying our moments of meditation via the sounds of nature? Apparently meditation is part of nature. Now what's strange to me about this particular track that comes with the car through the sounds of nature situation is you don't want to be meditating while you're driving. So I think it's more aimed towards you guys in the back seat. You're the ones that they're pointing that at. And there's so many other things. We could go into the Mood Curator and get even more dramatic, because all kinds of things, when you engage one of the moods of the Mood Curator, it even adjusts the lighting. We've got aromatherapy here. I'm like, oh, I've turned it way up too. It's going to be out of aromatherapy material. You know, I should turn that steering wheel heat on, because it's cold. What's the temperature? 33. It feels a lot colder than that. I don't mind telling you. But now we will engage our cruising control, our road assist, our whatever. And this is a smart system like the other manufacturer right off the bat that comes to mind, but there are several. Toyota has a thing that if you want to engage the automatic steering, you just press the button right there, and you can disengage it just as easily. There are some other vehicles out there that I've driven recently that in order to disengage the self-steering aspect, or the lane tracing, or the lane centering, or whatever they want to call it, you have to actually recycle through the modes of the cruise control. This is so much better to just be able to hit a button. And I've said for a long time, and I really believe this, the Hyundai engineers that do a lot of engineering for all of their vehicles, including Hyundais and Kias, and of course their top-of-the-line Genesis, are real good at this self-steering thing, because the car doesn't get near as crazy as it does on some cars. Meaning it just is constantly overcompensating for things. This seems much more straightforward. It's very impressive, actually, as is everything else on the drivetrain of this car. I don't mind telling you, 409 horsepower is not anything to be snuffed at. And when you add in the, well, part of that, of course, is the electric supercharging system. So any gaps in the twin turbocharged V6, for example, on your Ford F-150s with the hybrid option and the EcoBoost engine, and the 3.4 liter V6 twin turbo in the Toyota Tundra and other sundry SUV types, pickup SUV types in that company, it tends to fill in the lower gaps before the turbochargers can spin up all the way. So at lower, especially at lower RPM, having an electric boost is, but this is like I mentioned, this is not like just an electric boost. It's a supercharger, as superchargers work, and they take in the air intake and they advance forward with compressing the intake air a little bit. And then you have the compression that comes from the turbocharging system, which of course is intercooled. But I think with the supercharger, you really get a lot more instantaneous response. And it's already automatically, I don't think, I'm unaware of any superchargers right off the bat that I have driven. Oh, we're losing our way here. We no longer have our self-steering. What happened? Well, I didn't do anything. The supercharger system is such that it spools up much, much faster, but I don't know of any that I have driven that have to have cooling in addition to that. But you would think whenever you compress air, it heats it up. Whether you're compressing the air from an air compressor to put in a scuba tank or whatever, it does get warmer. It increases the temperature of the air itself. So you have some kind of cooling in turbocharging, obviously, the intercooler. And with the supercharger, I don't know on this. It may be a little different. I don't think it's at the level of boost of when we hear the word supercharger. We usually picture a belt fed, that it runs off a belt directly off the crankshaft that spins up the supercharger. So it's not waiting for exhaust gases to pass through it. It just instantly turns on. Same thing with the electric. And it fills in any gaps you may have in the lower part of the rev range. So it's a good thing, man. It's something that works for us very nicely. And everything else about this powertrain and this engine in particular is wonderfully smooth. The idle is real smooth on it. It has, does it have stop start? I don't see it. It must. I'm thinking it does. Yes, it does. When you have a stop start off switch, that means it must have stop start. So it will completely shut down the engine at lights sometimes, but not always. But when the engine is actually running at idle, it's really, really smooth. It's a very impressive, it does feel like a high-end type of powertrain. And with plenty of horsepower, and plenty of torque. And again, the turbocharging helps with torque in the lower rev range. So all these transitions between various things trying to boost the power output of the engine and also do it as smoothly and as linearly as possible, all that stuff is engaged and being controlled by computers and everything else. And the bottom line is, like, you have a big old V8 underneath the hood of olden days that's really smooth and really powerful, real quick response. It's what V8s have always been nice at speed, and the same thing with this. It just gets much better fuel economy, and the emissions are lower. So we shall see what the car companies are going to be up to in the next few years, because a lot of people would prefer not to have a turbocharged engine. As much as they've polished and done all these other things I've just described to make them better and smoother, a lot of people just don't like turbochargers because they make the vehicle more complex, and that's absolutely true. Well, I'm really using my four-wheel steering there. So look at this. It's all white. It's all covered with snow. It is snow. Here, let's turn that camera on again. There we go. Look at all that snow. Let it snow, they said, and it did. And this car does real well. I have to say, I've been out slushing around in it, and not bad. Not bad at all, I must say. It seems to be very sure-footed in the traction department in this slippery slope type situation. I would not hesitate to take this on a ski trip because it seems to do quite well. Let's see, I'm trying to get over these rocks here very gently. Look at there. Enough ground clearance, so that was not an issue. And all told, now here's a good one right here. We'll stop on this and then we'll start. We'll see how our all wheels do. Here we go. Look at that, look at that. Nothing. Means nothing to this car. It just goes. Like all the fine ones do, it just goes. Being a luxury car, it's not considered a luxury if you can't go. If you get your wheels start to spinning and the rear end starts to wiggling about. Not this car, no. The G90 has the all-wheel drive. I don't know what they call it in Genesis land. I know what they call it in Hyundai land, which is the land from which the Genesis people come from. Because it's like H-track, I believe, in Hyundai. Yeah, these plows, there's nothing to plow, but they're out there plowing anyway. Dropping all this salt on the ground. I think they overdo it. That's my opinion. You're at liberty to come up with your own. Look at all this. That's not snow. I'm never going to shut up about all the salt they put on the road. It's absolutely disgusting. But boy, is this a nice, quiet car. Even though it's not completely aerodynamic at the moment because there's lots of snowbergs on it. And some of it on the hood. This thing, it runs so cool, considering all the horsepower that even though I've been driving it for a while, the snow has got to melt completely off the hood. Yeah, it's impressive. Lots of cooling because you got two turbochargers to cool, plus the radiator and everything else, plus the engine, which gets pretty hot when it's a 3.5 liter and it's putting out a lot of heat, generating all that electricity and all that torque. Well, we do have electricity flowing through our supercharger. Hey, let's get on it, shall we? Here we go. Listen to that exhaust note. Now we're getting the snow off the car. Woohoo! There we go. Got rid of a lot of it. I still got some on it though, because I can hear it. We're going to activate our cruise control now. It is done. And boy, I tell you, this time of year, this time of day, the sun intrudes upon thee. It's difficult, I tell you. Now we'll come around this corner and then I'll activate the self-steering lane tracing. I can't remember what it's called on this, but I was just in a Volvo, and I know the Volvo calls it pilot assist. Oops. Yeah. Oh, ah. Despite me wrestling with this, there's plenty of headroom for most taller individuals. Not a problem. Let's do this. Oh dear, what have I done and made it all awful? I used to be able to see out of this windshield till I messed with it. There's so much in life where you don't realize until it's too late that you really shouldn't have messed with that. Are we going to steer properly here? We got a lot of things that are throwing this thing off, including a kind of a berm of formerly snow-like material that's covering the center lane, and mixed in with all the salt and stuff, it's not as clear to read as you might think. But it's doing fine. And again, it's doing that wonderful Hyundai family thing where the self-steering does not overly compensate constantly like some of them do out there with different manufacturers. And that's a real pain for us drivers that are driving. It makes you wonder about how far along we really are, because they're so pushing. It's like just the way they push artificial intelligence on everybody. Like this, it has AI, and they're spending, these companies are spending a fortune on buying this technology, this AI technology, and a lot of times it makes things worse. It creates problems that didn't exist before the AI, but they're so anxious to jump on the bandwagon. I think a lot of it, to be honest with you, it's a real interesting time we live in technologically speaking, because the laws, regulations, and things can't keep up with the way they're just dumping stuff out. Your private information and things like that are more available to private companies more than ever. And even if it's banned to go to law enforcement, they can't like have a scanner up in the sky and just read everybody's license plate. The police can't do that, but private companies can do it, and then the police buy it from them. So it's called a loophole. So we're living in crazy times. I mean, that's pretty much every generation says that because of all the things that are going on during that generation. But I think it's a bit more accelerated this time. Yeah, this does a pretty good job. It's not great. It's not perfect. It's not as good as you or I are. UIR. What is that, UIR? That must be some kind of technology. But I see it flashing, so we're going to turn off all the assists. And I'm going to take over. Ah, good. The light has changed. I get caught at this light a lot. It's all a matter of luck, whether or not you're going to have to stop or not. It's all luck. Oh, we have a hazard ahead. Look at the snow blowing up there like a little vornado. It's a dust devil, but it's not. It's a snow devil. That's what it is. Oh boy, what's going on up here? We got some construction that I have not been told about. That's what I'm going to call it. There we go. Yes, sir. They're doing something up there. They're constructing. Boy, I'd really like to make this windshield clear, but unfortunately I haven't cleared away all the debris around the windshield wipers, and some of the blades still have some snow on them, so that's why it makes such a mess. And I don't have anything in the car to clean that stuff off. Usually these fleet vehicles come with, they throw one in for you. They throw a scraper in for you, but they didn't do that this time around. Or some other journalist type stole the one they had in the car. That wouldn't surprise me. They're not a very trustworthy lot. I speak from experience. Well, surprise, surprise. First thing I noticed underneath my G90 here is a fascinating thing. It doesn't have near as much cladding as they normally do as far as the aerodynamic undercarriage move. You don't have a whole lot of covers underneath here compared to a lot of other vehicles these days. It's not an issue whatsoever. It's just the way it is. And I found that fascinating. Also fascinating is, look at all the aluminum bits in this very sophisticated rear suspension system. That includes rear wheel steering. And you got all these things here working together in harmony in order to keep the car on track. This very big, what is it, 6,000 pounds or something like that? It's a heavy thing. It's a large vehicle. But boy, it's absolutely beautiful. All the use of aluminum, very, very thick. If you can see in there, where's my instrument? I've lost my instrument. Here it is. We have unusually stout drive shafts. Look at that right there. Because of all the 409 horsepower and 425 or something like that, or 405 or somewhere in over 400 foot-pounds of torque for this machine. And here we have our rear differential, nice and round, and aluminum, all over the place. You got a number of cross links. Here's a cross link right here. Here's your front. Here is your front lateral link right in here. And everything. And how do they steer the rear wheels? Well, here we go right here. Here's the actuator right here. And this goes back and forth in order to turn the rear wheels in the opposite direction at low speeds than the front wheels to help tighten the turning radius. Very, very useful in tight parking lots, as I have noted. But right now you're also looking at it, the air suspension in its higher mode. Yeah, there must be a higher mode in there. Right up in there, there is your, can you see that there? There is your air suspension. Right up in there. Can't tell. I'm looking at my camera. There we go. There you can see it. But there's our air spring on a little stalk here that sits right there. And then you have shock absorbers. Is there another damper here or not? I don't know. But here's an upper link. I mean, there are links aplenty all over the rear suspension. Absolutely fascinating. Here is our, this is our stabilizer bar right here. And again, steering, propulsion. And where's our drive shaft? Our drive shaft is here, and it's pretty much completely concealed all the way up in there. It goes through that little tunnel right there. And fascinating. Fuel tank. There's fuel tank right there. There's your fuel tank. With a cover over, two covers over it actually. You got a heat shield on the inside next to the exhaust, and then you have a, looks like a poly shield on top of that. So lots of protection underneath here, but you can really tell right off the bat how the meticulous assembly of all this stuff is absolutely beautiful. And there are so many parts and so many, like here's a linkage system right here that I don't know what this does right here. It attaches this to this. Your subframe is here, attaching up to your, way up in there, attaching to the unibody. So it's all very complex. It's really interesting. Shielding. Here's some more poly shielding here to protect these lower arms. And there's our steering link again. So you got a little ball joint in there somewhere that is used to pivot the rear wheel for the rear wheel steering. So wow, are you impressed? I am. There's so much going on. And the result, incidentally, is a car that handles very well and rides very, very well. And in the extended mode of the air suspension right here to increase your ground clearance a little bit, look at there. There's quite a bit of ground clearance. This side of the suspension is in compression, and this side over here is an extension, and everything is still this thing is still well attached to the ground, so there's quite a bit of travel. So there you go. I mean, this is impressive on top of impressive. I could just lie under here for days, but it's cold, so I won't. But this is a beautiful execution of a really, really interesting rear suspension on a really interesting chassis of a really interesting G90. Well, you're probably asking yourself, what price all this grandeur? Well, the 2026 G90 3.5T E-SE MHEV Prestige Black all-wheel drive has a base price of $105,750, and with the Uyani white paint job on our black edition, that's an extra $650, which will bring to a grand total of $107,895. So this is a long-haul car. This is something you buy if you're going to keep an automobile for a very long time. And more than anything else, it is a lovely driver. I can't see this thing going obsolete anytime soon because it's got everything. It's everything by the fours. Got your four-wheel steering. Got your four-wheel automatic all-wheel drives to get you through whatever nasty weather you may encounter. And it also has a million tiny technological features, including the Mood Curator, to make your driving life very, very fun and interesting for a long time. This is an investment. This isn't a car you buy for a couple of years, in my opinion. It also has tons. If you have to haul people around in the back, like you have a very nice, prestigious car service, this is a great car because the combination of the rear seat room and comfort and all the features therein, plus a nice roomy trunk, this would be a great car for a car service too. So you guys take care out there, and we will visit you next time.
Do whatever the tube tells you. You dress like the tube, you eat like the tube, you raise your children like the tube, you even think like the tube. This is mass madness, you maniacs. In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion.